you believe creative or innovative people need to succeed?
I think they need nurturing, support, um, money, but seriously, nurturing and support. I just had a conversation with somebody last night who is also a painter, and she was talking about how she had gone to an art school that was really abusive. And I said, "Oh, that's interesting because my program was very abusive too." And many of these, many forms of education have this still this sick notion of being hard and coarse. And in a creative environment, that is absolutely the worst thing. You need to nurture people and say, keep on going, you're doing great, and understand that people have to go through their process and explore in order to find their voice and to continue to find their voice. So I would say support and nurturing are top of the list.
You touched a little bit earlier on meditation, and I'm thinking of this in regards to nurturing meditation. Are there daily rituals that when you honor them change your process or make a significant difference in bettering your life and your work?
Um, you mean daily rituals that I do or rituals that I could do that just enhance my life in general? Is
Yeah,
that?
yeah,
Yeah,
both. I mean,
absolutely.
I, just as you were talking about nurturing, I was thinking about what feeds the creative soul, and it's frequently uh, there's a book that, and I'm forgetting the title of it. I think it's called Daily Rituals.
Yeah.
And so as you were talking about that, I just kind of pictured some of those rituals. Are there any that, yeah, that make a difference in your life that, that are helping you?
Yes, I think that meditation number is on top of the list um of of being the number one um ritual that makes every day better. And I'm not saying, there are times where I fall out of it and then I have to get back in it. Last week, for instance, was a really busy week, and I just simply did not have the time. I was getting up really early in the morning just to get to a shoot. And so I did not give myself the time to do it. And I did notice a difference. And so I get back on track. But that's the number one. And I think that there are small rituals, excuse me, that I do every day that are having breakfast, my tea in the morning. I really love to just sit here quietly and have my tea and think about my day or my work or whatever. Um, Exercise is really important. Yoga is a, a very helpful form for, I find that the times that my mind is really sort of filled up and I'm having a tough time focusing, going to take a yoga class is really helpful for helping the focus. So I would say meditation and exercise, yoga being top of the exercise list. Anything that helps pull me down and center me, and as they say, harness the wild horse that is in my head.
That's good.
I love the Buddhists call it monkey mind, which I think is a perfect analogy. Anything to harness that monkey mind.
Yeah, I think of the word picture that comes to mind a number of years ago was whack-a-mole. I don't know if you've ever seen
Oh,
that
that's great.
at like at the state fair or carnival somewhere, as I feel like my brain sometimes is like trying to slap down whack-a-mole before I can get one knocked down. One or two more have popped up, and trying to settle that down has been my life
I love that
struggle.
word. I think I'm going to have to steal it from you.
Yeah, you can have it.
Okay.
If I could just give over all the moles to be whacked to you, I'd happily do that as well.
Okay. I
Speaking
love that.
of a different kind of nourishment, are there any books that have affected or impacted your thinking or your work in any great way? And if so, what made a difference? What made
Oh my
them have a
God.
difference to you?
Okay. A huge impact. Books. I am an avid reader. And as Charles, I'm going to steal something from you that you said. I am also an information whore. I love information. I'll just sponge it up. Give it to me. I'll take it all. So I have a huge amount of books on my iPad right now. Um, I so many of them. I can't even. I read. I'm trying to think of particular books for a particular reason, but I will read something and it will go into my brain and a little light will go off and I'll go, okay, and I'll sort of feed on that for a while or refer back to it when need be. Um, right now, let's see, I have about 5 books open. I am reading The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, which there was, even if it's just one line that resonates with me, then it's been very powerful reading. Um, and just the process of deciding not to be a proactive person and not a reactive person is something to be reminded of every day.
Very important.
Very important, right? How often do we just react to things? And that goes right back into our mindfulness and our meditation. So, so right now that's been one of my enjoyable readings. Um, God, I would have to go get my iPad to look and see so many of the books that I've read. I mean, there's just a huge amount of books. And I also love reading novels. So I will go through a phase where I will really get into a novel and then I'll have enough of novels and go to nonfiction and sometimes back and forth. Um, a great novel is also a great way for me to sort of just forget about everything.
Well, having that good diet or mix in there of reading a good novel or biography, and then going to, I find, business or motivational books. Having that mix, yeah, gives a
It,
good diet of the mind.
yeah, it's very nutritious,
Yeah.
I would say. And I have a lot of motivational books that I refer to.
What do you want to be remembered for?
Mostly that I've touched people's lives on a personal level. I think that I've added inspiration or inspired other people. That's on a much more personal level, with the people in my life, my family and friends. So that's number one, I think, is that I've added something. I have given love, um, and warmth. So I think that's number one. Work wise, well, I approach my work on a very personal level. So I would say that most of the time when I'm working with people on their personal style or whatever, I think that it's done in a way with a lot of sensitivity that touches them. I want to be of service, and it's the one thing that I don't feel that I am of service enough yet, and it's something that I would like to get to. I think that's really important to be of service to the world, to other people. It would be nice if somebody had my painting, one of my paintings, and said, I'm really happy to have that. I like looking at it. But I think that mostly it's how I've touched other people in their lives.
Well, your work is amazing. What I've seen of
Thank
it,
you.
and I'm sure it's touching lives in ways that you may not hear about. But yeah, it's lovely work.
Thank you so much for saying that. I really appreciate it. Um, I put a lot of effort into, one painting at a time. I'm not a fast painter at all. And I think that I decided to start painting flowers because I just wanted to focus on the act of painting and get into the zone without worrying so much about any kind of psychological subject matter. And um, what I really enjoyed was I've noticed when people have looked, they've said at certain times, "Oh, I never noticed that in a flower before." And so that little thing opens up a mind, I guess, or opens up an eye, and that's fun. That's nice to see, as long as I'm doing realism, although that might change at some point.
Well, the process of art to change the way that people see things, as well as I think honoring the process of doing the work itself in your own life are two, I think, important and not unrelated parts of the process.
Yeah, and I agree with you, and I think that the act of creating is a very Zen thing, to stay in the moment and get out of the way of yourself and be a vehicle for something coming through, some divine vitality, whatever universal energy that I think that we all have. And not necessarily from our egos. um, and I think that any art can, and any art form can, and does, uh, open people's eyes or give something to the viewer or the listener, whether it's music or fine art or an illustration or whatever it is, architecture. But do we change people? Does any kind of art change people? I don't know about that. I'm not sure. I'm looking to change anybody, but if I can give a moment of some eye-opening whatever, um, I think that's the gift that we can give each other, is to share our perspectives on something, or our voice, and see how it resonates to anybody else, or hope that it does.
Speaking of a different kind of energy, is there someone you know who is outside of the spotlight but doing something important that's having an impact on the world that we should know about?
You and I both got involved with the Good Life Project and did went to Camp GLP, which was quite mind-opening and heart-opening experience. And I've met so many people through that are all striving and also, I think, making an impact in some form or another. And I also have friends who are creative. I have a friend, Gordon Skinner, who is a documentary filmmaker, and he's working on some really interesting things that, hopefully will be out in the spotlight at some point. I just know so many people, and I think that we all make an impact in some way. because it's all interrelated.